Today we'll be talking about the Job Manager from LSTC. This is a new product that is being developed. It's going to work with the LS form and also it can work with LS Prepost. It is a job submitter that is friendly with single host machines, or it can work in an MPP environment on a cluster. First thing we want to look at is the settings. For SMP, you can set the single precision, double precision, number of CPU, memory, and the restart. You can also add additional parameters. It gives you an option to change the directives. So if you don't need to use NCPU as the CPU directive, maybe it's something else, you can change it here. This is also good for MPP. So for MPP, you're going to set your MPI command, your single and double precision, the number of CPUs, the memory amount, the restart. If you're using InfiniBand with MSMPI, you may have to set additional environment variables. Also, you need to specify a machine file with the hosts. It gives you a preview of the expression that it's going to run, and it gives you the option to change the directives again. In this case, when you're using MSMPI, the CPU directive is -N with a space after it, and then it will impose the CPU quantity that is specified in the CPU. If the order of the expression is not correct, you can move these boxes around. For example, I could move the solver directly after the MPI command. That would be incorrect, so I'll move it back where it belongs. But you can move them around to achieve any combination to create the correct expression that you're looking for. Under application, you can choose what is the default. If you're going to input a K file or you're going to use a DYN file, then it will choose one of these four for the default way to express it and run the solver. In this case, I'm going to leave it on MPP double precision. You can also select a post-processor so that you can view the results while the simulation is solving. In this case, I'm going to use LS form, and I'm going to set the default file type to LSP. There are other file types you can use. You can specify a text editor as well. Under the license tab, you can set the network license here. In my case, I have it already set as environment variables, so I just leave this untouched. And then under miscellaneous, you can see that there is an option to pick all of the types of files that you would like to be cleaned when it cleans the directories. Now going over to LS Prepost, we can look at the settings here as well. So under solver setup, you want the solver setup to match the solver setup that you're going to use on your job manager, because LS Prepost is going to output a batch file which you can also bring into the job manager. But the batch file must have the correct command sequence so that it mirrors the configuration of the job manager. Once these are set correctly, you can output a file, and then we can take a look at the files. Going to the solver. And let's edit this batch file and just see what we've got here. So this is the settings from LS Prepost that were set, giving us this batch file to submit a 7-stage multi-stage simulation. I'm going to take this and I'm going to open the Job Manager. I'm going to pick this batch file, and there we have it. So it automatically submitted all 7 stages, and as you can see on each stage there is a command expression which is going to be executed when we start the simulation. I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this, and the simulation is going to start. Okay, so the simulation has begun. It's solving. While the simulation is solving, we can click on any of the stages that have solved or are being solved, and we can open the post processor. Whatever frames are done at the point when you open the post processor will now become available for you to look at the results. Okay, if we close that, you'll notice that the first stage is already completed and the second stage is starting. We'll let a couple frames go here. If we right-click on the actual job and pick the post processor, it will open a multi-stage simulation automatically and start playing the frames when you hit play. The second simulation is done. It's working on a third stage. So this would continue on. If you just wanted to see the results of the individual stages, as I said, you can just right-click and go post processor. It will just show you that stage. And if you pick the one at the top and go to post processor, it will show you whatever stages are completed. It's complaining about an invalid file because it's writing that file out right now as we speak. But as you can see now, there are 3 stages here, and it will continue to add stages to this master file until all of the stages are done. It's done the 3rd stage now, it's going into the 4th stage. So as you can see, without any editing whatsoever of the expressions, once we have our configuration set correctly, we can use Job Manager in conjunction with LS Prepost and LS Form to provide us with a turnkey solution for job submission.